In this video we're going to be looking over this Minolta X-700 35mm film SLR camera equipped with a 50mm prime lens and a Minolta 49mm UV filter on the front. And so my goal in this video is to do a good enough walkthrough here on camera to give you a sense of the condition of it and the function of it. So we're just going to walk through it together here. Hopefully it will look as good as if you had it in your hand and you were doing these things. So I have a pair of batteries that we're going to use. They do not come with it, but I'm putting them in for the testing. So we're going to just load those in, close the battery compartment, and then we'll turn it on and we'll see. Okay, so it's powered up now. It's off and on. Okay, so what I thought I would do is step down through the shutter speeds all the way from 1/1000th and down. So here's at 1/1000th, 1/500th, 1/250th, 1/125th, 1/60th, 1/30th, 1/15th, 1/8th, 1/4th, and you can notice here as we look through here on these slower, you can really see the blades move in and stop. There's 1/4 of a second, 1/2 a second, and 1 full second. And then the bulb setting where the shutter stays open, blades stay stopped down as long as I hold the shutter button down, and then it releases. Now we're going to check out the self timer, so I'm just going to set this at a higher speed. And we do that by pulling up on this little lever right there, and then we'll just set this back here and watch it complete the cycle. We see the red light blinking right there. And there, it's done. So that worked. And then let's try the stop down preview button. We can see the blades stopping down in the lens quickly. So that's working properly. And then what I thought I'd do is let's move this over to the program mode. And I'm going to point the camera right into this really bright light right here, and we're going to see what it does. First we're going to shut off the self timer. Okay, now I'm going to turn off this and keep the camera in the same orientation. I saw the lens was much wider open there, so it was reading the situation there. I'm going to now also set this at the A setting, and now if we set the aperture, well, let's leave it way at 22 with the bright light shining right into the camera. And then we shut off that light and do it again. Slower. Yeah, so it is responding to light. Now let's take the lens off and look at that. It's a nice, very nice smooth focus on this lens, which is typical of these Minolta lenses. This is the f1.7. It has nice clicks on the aperture ring. And this one has the feature of the lock at the minimum aperture, which works with the program mode on this camera. Let's just look at the mirror box here and just fire this with the lens off. Everything looks pretty good. The aperture follower ring is sprung well. This is one of the cameras that makes use of the MD tab on the lenses. So lenses that have that have a little more communication with the body as far as what it is, the aperture and such. We look up here on the top, looks really nice. Here's for exposure compensation. And then here is for your ASA or ISO. You can set that with this ring right here. We'll just set that down to about 200. And then it has a feature here which is on, but then you can go past the off and to another on with an audible sound. And what that does is if it senses that there's not enough light to handhold it, you'll get that warning. But if there is adequate light, then you won't get it and it will just work. So, see how there? But now there's enough light. So we see that feature is working. And I thought what we'd do next is just load a scrap roll of film. So we'll look inside here first. Now, on here, everything looks good. The curtain, the film transport. I'm going to shut that back to the on without the audible beep. Okay. We have to get that to there. Okay. So the shutter curtains look nice. Film transport's working. And I thought I would just load this film in here like that. And we've got to get, on this model, all you have to do is get it in there. And there's a hook on that spool that will catch it. Of course, I'm trying to do this on camera and it's not real smooth. I apologize. It did not work at all. Actually, I think on this, you actually, I remember on an old Minolta I used to use, I had to hook it in there. Okay, I apologize for that. There we go. So now we know the film is winding, and we can see the crank is moving a little bit as it's winding this in. And this is a short roll of film, so we're just going to wind these off and use them up just to demonstrate the film transport part of this. Okay, there we've reached the end of the roll. So now to rewind, we push this little button on the bottom, and then we can come up here and crank the film back into the little canister. There, I felt it break free. Okay, so now we pull up on the knob to open the back, and there is the film. Pull that out, and if this were real film we could have it processed and then we'd have our pictures. Well, we have the door open. Just wanted to look over here at the door. I feel a little bit of buildup of light seal material, not a lot, but some, a little more along the bottom. A little bit of degradation of the light seal material. It's probably not urgent that it be replaced quite yet, but be aware that it's a nearly 40-year-old camera, and so it's likely to need that at some point. Now, in addition to the camera and the filter, it does have this lens cap. It's a nice Minolta with the same logo as on the camera. One thing I noticed here is that the spring in the back here is not quite right. It looks like it's been glued right there, and it's unhooked right here. So it's not ideal. It does mount on the camera and come off, so it sort of works, but it doesn't grip quite as well as it should. So in addition to the camera, well, the camera comes with this this nice Minolta wide blue strap, and that was an added feature that somebody probably upgraded, because we also have the original Minolta strap, and it looks like it's never been opened from the package. But that will come with it, as will a Minolta X-700 owner's manual, and it's got a little bit of ripping and damage to it, dog-eared corners and things, but it's there, along with a book about lenses for Minolta cameras, and a little pamphlet that's all about the X-700 and the whole product line and everything that's associated with the X-700. So there's quite a nice package of documentation, an extra strap, and a camera that we have just looked over.